Hey folks, Leah here. So I wanted to talk with you today about a breakthrough that I had recently, actually yesterday. So if you follow me or if you know me, you'll know that I've had chronic pain for a very long time. Probably, if we're going back, probably since high school when I used to play field hockey, I would get pain in my right hip when I would be running for long distances. And over the years, since I was a teenager, I'm 36 now, so that's, at least 20 years, I've developed all sorts of pains, aches and pains all over my body. And for most of my life, I've been active in some way. There are times that I've been inactive, but that's usually been because because I was suffering from some sort of pain. It was very demoralizing, and it just kind of led to a backslide into inactivity. So recently I was dealing with a particularly bad episode of neck pain up in my cervicothoracic joint, which is basically where your neck and your back meet. You can feel it. There's the curve of your neck, and then there's like a bumpy part where the rest of your spine starts. And that's where I was feeling a lot of tension coming from my upper traps, my levator scapulae, which attaches the back of the head to the upper tip of the shoulder. And it was feeling basically, I also felt a lot of tightness in my SCMs, which are right here, and my scalenes. So it was feeling basically like somebody had a vice grip on my head, my jaw, and the back of my neck. And I had restricted range of motion. I also had, a lot of cracking and popping and grinding, and really uncomfortable feelings. It had been really bad for the past probably about 2.5 weeks, and to the point of where I was going to sleep with pain, waking up with pain, having pain all day. I was using heat treatments. I was popping ibuprofen pills all day. I was using my Big Blue Monster to do self-myofascial release on this area. And I've been going to the chiropractor. So that's new. So I've been going to the chiropractor every Monday for 2 weeks. So my second visit was yesterday. And my neck was really jacked up, my hips are really jacked up, and my foot is jacked up. So basically what it looks like in terms of problems is you can basically draw a zigzag line, and those are my problem areas. So left foot, right hip, left oblique, and shoulder. So it was going from toes to my head, basically. Couldn't really figure it out. I knew it had something to do with my hips being rotated. So if you look at your pelvis as a bowl, right? You have your two hip bones. Let's say these are the PSIs, posterior, superior, iliac, spine. You can go behind and you can feel them right here. Your PSIs are about right there. If you take your fingers, rest of your fingers, and you put them on your iliac crest, which is the top of those iliums, or the innominate bones, which are the two bones that make up your pelvis, you can kind of get a sense for imbalances in the pelvis. So mine, basically, if this is a normal pelvis, right, there's your PSIS, your spine, your lumbar spine, and your sacrum sit in the middle. And when you walk, your pelvis goes like this. When you run, your pelvis goes like that even more, right? Your pelvis is supposed to be mobile but balanced. So mine had become very rigid and imbalanced. What happened was that it started to twist. So the right part started to go back, left part started to rotate forward. So I could feel this right PSIS very prominently in my back. And it was just very clear to me that my hips were out of place. So those 2 chiropractic visits did nothing to correct that rotation, although they did put the rest of my vertebrae in order. So they got rid of that neck pain somewhat. But I was afraid that it would return, which is what my past experiences with chiropractic have been, because at the end of the day, they'll put your bones back in alignment, but what really is the issue are the muscles and the fascial tissues that are pulling them out of place. It's kind of like an uphill battle, like slapping a Band-Aid on Ebola, you know? It's not gonna work. So I was exploring somatics. So somatics, soma means body. Somatics I like to explain as the primary school of movement education. So if we think of yoga as kind of like always the theme is like connecting to the body, connecting to the breath, and really kind of that grounding and things like that. Embodied movement, right? Well, imagine yoga, but way, way, way simpler. Just even learning how to, say, rotate your pelvis forward and backward. Something as simple as that. So I was watching a YouTube video, I'm sitting there and I'm like, okay, I have my hands, I have my thumbs on my PSIS of my pelvis, and then I have my fingers on the iliac crest, right? And I'm like, okay, so what I did, and this is like blowing my mind how simple this is. What I did, but it shows you the power of that we have as humans to fix our own bodies and not be dependent on, you know, all these other things, all these other treatments. So what I did basically is I sat in my chair, sat on the edge of my chair with my hands in those spots, thumb on the PSIS, and the rest of my fingers on the iliac crest. Sitting on the very edge, what I did first is I grounded to my sacrum. Sorry, to my sit bones. So you'll hear that a lot in yoga where they say sit bones, right? Like ground to the sit bones. So what that means is those two pointy bones that you can feel when you sit on your hands. Okay? So those should make full contact evenly with your seat. But mine weren't because of that rotation. So I sat there and just very subtly, I just connected my mind to my sit bones. And all of a sudden, I tried to even out like how much pressure I was putting on each of those ischiums, the pointing bones. And eventually, guess what? More of this muscle tension just disappeared. Just went away. Can you imagine something so simple as learning how to sit? And my pain that has been causing like a domino effect of, you know, toxic emotions, and, you know, it's been demoralizing for me and it has caused a lot of negativity in my life. Can you imagine that it's as easy as just learning how to sit, learning how to align my pelvis? So from there, with my hands now back on my iliac crest and my PSIS, I just started playing around. So I know that this hip is dysfunctional. There's something up with this hip, right? There's got to be a restriction. That's what my detective work has told me. So basically I just started doing this. And then I started going out a little bit more and seeing how my pelvis was responding, how those bones were, the pelvis was rotating as I was doing that. So what I noticed is that I have this area of restriction and tightness in my right obliques, right here. The obliques attach the pelvis to the rib cage. So hold that in your mind, and now let's go back to what my history has been. So my pelvis is rotated to the right. Think about what happens. What happens is that, so this is like straight. I slightly rotate to the right with my rib cage, and this gets shortened and tightened. So this is overactive. This is holding my hip and rib cage close together. This side is just kind of like hanging in the breeze. These obliques over here are weak and inactive, and they're overstretched. So time, I developed kind of a neuromuscular pattern of dysfunction. So I was walking with my hips rotated to the right, and then my upper body had to compensate so I could look straight on and do what I needed to do. And so I developed all of these kind of like crooked ways of carrying myself, which were compounded when I was doing exercise, running, walking, sitting, you name it. Anytime I was moving, I was stuck in that pattern. So simple body awareness liberated me from years of pain. And guess what? All I had to do is become aware of the bone structure of my body and observe and be patient. There are a lot of people out there who have pain, chronic pain, can't figure it out. If you're like me, you've been to a lot of specialists. I've been to acupuncturists, I've been to chiropractors, massage therapists, personal trainers, physical therapists, and a lot of them helped me, but it was very temporary, maybe a week or even just a day. And then I would be right back into that vice grip, lower back pain. And when I would work out and I would think, oh, well, I'll just get stronger, I'll strengthen it, you know. But really, I wasn't looking at the bigger picture, and neither were they. You know, and it's, a lot of this stuff is really not very well understood. It's really not that mainstream. So you have to find someone who really understands it. And what I want to do for how I feel like my pain journey, my fitness journey, wellness journey, health journey, I work through my own journey with people. I understand how frustrating, debilitating pain can be, especially when you're an active person and you want to be fit and you want to be healthy, but you're feeling drained because you're dealing with this pain, and especially if you can't find where it's coming from, it can be really terrifying. So, you know, that's a big theme in my work, is helping people become their own body detectives through things like somatics, mind-body connection, really just going to the basics, the foundations. And this could be helpful to anybody from, you know, new to exercise to, I don't know, CrossFit, let's say, because they're really hardcore. So let's say a CrossFitter, you know, anybody, an athlete or not, you know, just somebody who, you know, just walks. I can help you because I understand these systems of the body, and I understand that you have to look both locally as well as globally at the movement patterns of the body. So I just wanted to let you guys know about my own personal discovery that I made recently. I'm going to be continuing with my chiropractic treatment, and you know, I'm always looking for other professionals in, you know, structural integration and in holistic treatments like acupuncture, which I've heard great things about. I want to explore more of that, rolfing, things like that. And that'll be part of my journey, and I'm going to share that with you. And I hope if you have these issues that you will reach out to me and we can work together. I can give you resources, and I can be your coach if you need to work with someone one-on-one. Trust me, guys, it's worth it. You know, you live with your body. That's the only thing you have. So take care of it. Learn to be tuned into it. Take a step back. Take a step back and just understand your body. Be in your body. We are very disconnected from our bodies in this modern society we live in. So it's really kind of like a revolution. So think of it that way. Be part of the revolution. All right, guys, we'll check in soon. Bye.